guys. My name's Dino. Um, I'm going to be putting together a channel on YouTube because we're just living in such exciting times. I just love to speak about it. There's Jesus' return that I really feel is on the horizon, and there's World War III that seems to be really heating up, or getting there at least. So my channel is called A Firm Foundation, and the reason why it's called that is because, I'm a programmer in my secular job, and I like things to make sense in my world. Um, I like things to, I'm a very logical person, and I like to build on a foundation that's solid. That's the name Firm Foundation. I don't like this whole undecisiveness, this whole theory about everything is relative to everything. So we'll just live in this wishy-washy world where we can't be certain of anything. No, I believe God's given us some things we can be certain of, and I'm going to discuss those, not today, but in future videos. It's kind of like navigating a map. If you don't know where you are, how the hell are you going to work out where you're going? So I really believe that God wouldn't leave us in a place like that. Anyway, so future topics that we're going to be talking about will be things like evolution, things like flat earth. Now that is a really hot topic, or should I say hot potato. Then it'll be politics, and then maybe some of the mysterious stuff like UFOs, aliens, giants, at a later stage. Because I really find it all very, very fascinating. So I'm going to try and make a recording once a week, maybe on a Monday or Tuesday. Those are the nights that I'm away from home. I'm booked into my hotel. I've got time on my hands where I'm totally uninterrupted, so I can do this sort of thing. So once a week, I'll try and get to. So for now, I'm going to show you 4 stories that I found. So on the internet, on YouTube, and this has got to do with Russia, and this is on the Next News Network. This is Russia simulates nuclear strike on NATO allies.
Russia simulates a nuclear strike on NATO allies. TASS reports that NATO has refused to comment on its allegations that Russia's exercises carried out a simulated nuclear attack on NATO allies and partners, including Sweden. The allegations were included in NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg's 2015 annual report that was released on January 28th. Quote, "We have nothing to add to what is said in that report." That's according to the NATO headquarters, who told TASS news agency on Thursday. The report said, as part of its overall military buildup, the pace of Russia's military maneuvers and drills have reached levels unseen since the height of the Cold War.
So, and the reason for that is because, Russia and Assad, they're wiping out ISIS in Syria, and they've surrounded the last big area. So basically, ISIS will be defeated, and many people believe that ISIS are under the control of America and Obama, and so what's happening now? Well, what do you know? Saudi Arabia is now massing forces on the Syrian border. Turkey is massing forces on the Syrian border. And now Russia is also massing forces on the Syrian border, as well as being involved inside Syria. And Russia have said that if any of those forces actually invade the country, it will be a declaration of war, whatever that means. And then this just adds fuel to the fire. Here's another video of Next News Network. Russia warns of world war sparking in Syria.
Russia has warned of world war sparking in Syria. Richard Spencer of The Telegraph reports Russia warned of a new world war starting in Syria. He said this on Thursday after a dramatic day in which the Gulf states threatened to send in ground forces. Of course, he's speaking of the Gulf states being the Saudi coalition, and as well as aligned with the Turks, as we've been reporting here. He continues that foreign and defense ministers of the leading international states backing different factions in the war-torn country met in a separate meeting in Munich and Brussels following the collapse of the latest rounds of peace talks. Both Russia and the United States demanded ceasefires in the long-running civil war so that the fight could be concentrated against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, or ISIL, or Daesh, or whatever they want to call it today.
Oh, by the way, Levant means the extended area, which includes Israel. Ta-da! Yeah, so make of that what you will. Right, so the third story has got to do with a judge, I think it's a High Court Supreme judge that died of natural causes, one of Obama's opponents. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding this death. And it's funny how Obama's opponents just seem to, die anyway.
The top story on the Drudge Report is Scalia found dead with pillow overhead, adding fuel to the fire of the controversy surrounding the death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, who died unexpectedly Saturday of what was said to be a heart attack initially. Those reports were later retracted, allegedly from natural causes, but no autopsy will be performed, adding to the concerns of many that foul play may be involved. Is this just a right-wing conspiracy theory? What is the evidence for such concerns?
So part of those evidences is that he was declared to have died from a heart attack before he was examined, and he was then rushed off to be embalmed very quickly so that you can't detect any toxins or anything in his body. But I guess the worst evidence, which seems to point to his murder, not his natural death, is a pillow found over his face when he was dead. So maybe he was suffocated. Who knows? Okay, next story. Okay, I like to end off with a story. Let me introduce you to one of my favorites. This guy over here, L.A. Marzulli, as it says here. There's only two people in Christian circles that kind of remind me of Indiana Jones, and this is one of the guys. He investigates all giants and weird-shaped skulls, like aliens, and links them to the Bible where you can find them and stuff like that. He actually goes to the places, so he will fly to South America, to the dark jungles down there, and he's so much fun to listen to. He's got a series called Watchers, Watchers 1, 2, 3, 4. I think he's on 8 now, Watchers 8. And really, really, really interesting guy. And I want to end with this guy because what he says is basically sums it up for me about where we are at this present time in history.
The bottom line is people realize that that fiat currency isn't working anymore. And then the fact that you've got the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, trying to move the Chinese yuan as the default currency. Right. I mean, if this thing collapses, if a dollar collapses, just look at what happened in Greece, look what happened in Cyprus several years ago. It's just unbelievable. And, look, when you get an incident like Katrina, we see that the heart of man is deceitfully wicked. I know people don't like to hear that, but it's true. Yeah. Katrina comes, and what happens? The rise of lawlessness. There's a whole chapter in Days of Chaos talking about the rise of lawlessness. When there's such a thin veneer of civility that separates us from utter chaos, and this is why the book and the DVD are called The Days of Chaos. Everywhere I look, this is what I see, and yet in the midst of all the chaos. Like in Iran, like we talked about in an upcoming show, there's like a revival there. Tens of thousands of Muslims are changing and becoming Christians. They're becoming born again by the Spirit of a living God, and that's exciting. So I think that we're in this window of time, and I know people have, I'm banging the end time drum here, but I really believe that the King is going to return soon. We are a window of time that is unlike any other. And unfortunately, in the words of Yeshua, unless those days were shortened, no flesh would survive. And that's where we're not there yet. The good news is this is a cosmic regime change. And I love that because that's what's happening. The God of this world, Hasatan, Satan, is being pushed out. Slowly, but being pushed out. The King will return and establish a literal millennial kingdom on this planet.
Amen. One of the things that...
And I love it. I love it. A cosmic change. It's just, I just love it. Okay, guys, so that's all for this week. I will see you next week. I think next week I might get into some flat earth stuff. Well, actually, because I called it Firm Foundation, I want to build it from the ground up. So, yeah, I'll catch you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.